Big plans for a pretty small parcel of land. This is Quayside. It's about 12 acres or roughly a dozen football fields, and soon it will all be transformed. The vision is for a data-driven community complete with self-driving cars and other elements of a smart neighborhood. But this week, Waterfront Toronto and Sidewalk Labs signed a new agreement making some major clarifications on the original deal. The new deal doesn't give Sidewalk Labs access to anything but the Quayside neighborhood, so it excludes the larger Portlands area surrounding it.
We actually are standing on Quayside. These are lands that are owned by Waterfront Toronto.
In terms of the geography aspect of it, can you tell me more about what's changed with that?
So the framework agreement was, I think, a bit vague on the geography. We're really focused on Quayside, but there are certain objectives that we have collectively with Sidewalk around sustainability, climate positive, quality of life, affordable housing, that may in fact require us to look at scale.
While last fall's announcement may have made it seem like Sidewalk Labs' plans for a neighborhood complete with self-driving vehicles was a done deal, there is still a lot to do before the plan is finalized. The city says any use of its land needs to go through city approval before it can be used by Sidewalk Labs, and the new community can only spill into the Portlands neighborhood if it is approved by City Council. Now, we had a chance to take a tour of Sidewalk Labs' experimental workshop today. So I hear this is the coolest thing here.
Yeah, so this is a version of an idea we have called generative design, and it's a simplified way to start to understand some of the trade-offs that happen when you're trying to plan holistically an entire neighborhood. So what we have here are these really fun dials that kids especially love to play with, that you can actually mess around and kind of plan what an area might look like. And so you can choose things like a medieval street grid, or a crazy different height variation, or different kinds of added green space. And then you can see kind of how it performs against these metrics. And these are really simplified metrics, but it's just to prove the point. The planning is really hard, and there's no right answer, and there's tons of different trade-offs. So right now, if you look outside, streets are one way, 2 lanes. You have to go out and paint them if you want to change it up. But here you can actually use lighting to vary it. So you could potentially have a bike lane, or you can make it 2-lane, or maybe you want to make it an entire plaza, or maybe you want to put it into party mode because that day there are no cars on the street and it's going to be a festival.
Oh, wow.
So this is one way to potentially make streets a little more dynamic.
It'll be a while before this community will see shovels in the ground. Waterfront Toronto doesn't expect construction to begin for another 2 to 3 years.